I had unexplained infertility, no answers from the medical world, and landed on my yoga mat. And from there, began to dive deeper and bring mind, body, and spirit back into balance and alignment to understand myself and my body on a deeper level, and became pregnant naturally, easily, and quickly to my youngest.
Hi, and welcome to today's episode of the S.H.E podcast. Be seen, be heard, be empowered. And do I have an empowering guest for you today? She has been through a lot. She's created some miracles in her life, and I'm really excited to be bringing her to the stage. Her name is Ashley Holmes. Hi, Ashley. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be here and have this conversation.
I am really excited because this is a topic that I think a lot of women are struggling with and are challenged with. And you support women in a really incredible way that I would be, I can't, which just like, that's why I love this platform, because I can bring people to the stage that can support women in so many different ways. So before we dive in, I would love to, I'm going to give a little background as I pull it up here about you, and then we will dive in. So Ashley Holmes is a holistic fertility coach who supports women by creating a fertile foundation within. She is passionate about working one-on-one with women to resolve stress, heal, and find optimal nourishment for them. Her mission is to spread awareness of the prevalence of infertility and aims to help women not feel alone on their fertility journey. Ashley is a 3 times best-selling author, executive contributor for Brains Magazine, and blessed mom of twins and miracle child. So again, welcome to the stage, Ashley. I always ask all of my guests one specific question to kick this amazingness off. So I'm going to ask you the same thing. Helping women in the way you do, you already shared that you have a miracle child. So I'm guessing that this journey evolved from you moving through this process yourself. But I will ask you, just like everybody else, I'm not going to assume anything. Is this something that you navigated yourself and created, found your way through it? Or is this something that you just were called to do before you found out that you had, maybe this was your journey as well? So you learned about it and now are helping others move through this process.
It really was my own journey of doing it the hard way, quote unquote, and then finding the easy way. And it was a pandemic really that made me go from being in person when everything closed down to wanting to help and serve women in another way, and realizing that now was the time to go online and also to go beyond yoga and meditation into the deeper ancient teachings and to really help and impact women on a very profound and healing level, because all of this is available to us. We just have to tap into us. And that was really my journey and what I offer and support women with.
So I love that you say that you want to help women not feel alone on their journey. So did you feel like you were alone? Because when I remember, like, I talk about the fear of being seen. That's why this is called Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Empowered, Be She. That was my debilitating fear. I was extremely shy. I was an introvert. So now I want to help others move through that, because when you have a calling, when you have a passion, when you want something, and for your women that you help, they have a calling to be a mother, right? They feel that within. And then when they can't do it, or it's a challenge, they can feel very alone in the process. So I love that you talk into that when in your bio, like in your mission. So can you talk more about that? So for anyone who's listening that may feel like, listen, I'm the only one going through this right now, or I may not know somebody in my immediate space that's going through this, but now, where are places that we can find support? But first, I would love for you to talk into that feeling of possibly feeling like you're the only one going this, feeling like you're alone, and how to navigate
Definitely,
that.
12 years ago, that's how I felt. Absolutely. Because no one in my immediate circle of friends or family was experiencing that. And so it does feel isolating. It does feel lonely when you think and see everybody else getting pregnant easily, baby showers, baby announcements, all of the things. And you're like, why not me? Why isn't this working for me? I'm doing everything I'm meant to be doing, so to speak, and this isn't happening for me. And it's very frustrating when it's the very thing that you want and yet you cannot seem to achieve that goal.
So can you talk a little bit about your journey, or, are you open to sharing your story?
Definitely. I was trying for quite a long time before I realized, when I was in my early 30s, that this was going to perhaps need outside medical intervention, outside help, and went down the fertility clinic route and was eventually blessed with twins, but it was very emotionally and mentally draining. And I didn't feel like I had the support that I needed. I would leave the clinic and be like, now what? There's these protocols and these steps, but there was nothing else to go alongside of it. And I tried to help myself, and I tried to find books and resources that would support me. But also, when you're in that space and place, you're not often able to do those things for yourself as much as you may want to. So many years later, leaving the fertility clinic with twins, I didn't think that I could conceive naturally. I had unexplained infertility, no answers from the medical world, and landed on my yoga mat. And from there, began to dive deeper and began to do more yoga trainings and really bring mind, body, and spirit back into balance and alignment, to understand myself and my body on a deeper level, to incorporate the sister science of yoga, which is Ayurveda, into my life, and became pregnant naturally, easily, and quickly to my youngest. And also, I will just note that, the first time around, very stressful, high risk pregnancy, emergency C section. Because I was not awake, I was not aware, I was not empowered in this process whatsoever. And on the flip side, experiencing a natural pregnancy, hiking when my water broke, having a a VBAC, which is also not as common, but there was a huge gap in space of time in between these pregnancies, and being back at Baby Me Yoga 10 days later. So it really was me knowing what I was truly capable of and stepping into that, and knowing that I wanted to be there equally for all three of my kids at the end of this.
Thank you for sharing that. And I want to unpack a couple things that I pulled from that. The first one is I want to talk into how you help women through yoga, meditation, and how you support them. But before we tap into that, I want to talk into, for any women who are listening that are challenged with infertility. And like you said, you didn't know, like you went to the fertility clinic and you felt like you were alone. You didn't have a support system. So how can women, like thinking back, how can women possibly like create, because there's probably people that don't even know how to help. So I want to talk into the people that are listening that maybe know people that are going through infertility, and and sharing with them how they can best be there to support, because they're feeling alone. Their friends are feeling alone. And two, if you're in this position, how can you ask for support? Because there's probably people that want to support you. They just don't know how.
Definitely. I think that the biggest support is to just be there for whoever is experiencing it, without saying, well, just try again, or just adopt, or just, leave your opinions and keep those to yourself, and just truly actually be there and listen to them. Because I think it's very hard for us to do that. We want to fix, we want to help, but really it's a little bit detrimental, especially when you're on the receiving end of that, to have sort of what you're experiencing minimized in a way, and
Yeah.
not seen and felt and heard. And that's all anybody truly really wants when they're in that position. So you can support them in that manner by truly just being you and being there without superimposing anything. And then if you are in that position in the present moment, I think it's so important to realize at this day and age that there are so many people available to help us, really at the touch of our fingertips, that do want to support us, that can help us, can offer alternatives and remedies and solutions and supplements that maybe we haven't heard of or experienced or tried before. And that it doesn't have to be one or the other, but there definitely is a place that we can open our awareness and maybe try things that we haven't before, and see what that feels like and lands like in our mind, body, and spirit. Because what I can promise is zero side effects and only positive benefits from my work. And I think that anybody who's been on the fertility journey or has been taking fertility medications, they really do make you feel like you are on an emotional roller coaster ride. And it's like, I want to get off of this as soon as possible. But if you think that's the only way, then that's the only way.
Exactly. So open your mind to other possibilities, which is fantastic. And I love that you shared about with as far as like on the outside looking in. If you have a loved one, a friend, a family member who's going through this, maybe you don't know about it, but if you do know about it, then really just showing up in a way of support, saying what would be supportive for you. I think, like you said, we're fixers, but we get to lean into, like, we don't need to fix everything. We don't need to be the one giving the opinions, because when they're an emotional, think about when you're going through something emotional, and you're doing all the things, right? You're going to the
Yes.
doctors, you're getting the information, you're overwhelmed, you're working with your partner on how are we going to make this happen. You're going through an emotional and hormonal craziness inside of yourself too, like roller coaster. You don't need they don't need someone else coming at them going, well, just do this, because it takes all of that work that they've been going through and all of that journey and minimizes it. And that's not allowing that person to be seen and heard, just like you said. And I'm glad, so happy that you shared that. Like, and just think about what you would need from someone. No matter what the situation is, they need that in return. So I invite you to, if you have someone that's going through this journey or any challenge in their life, let's come toward them with love and openness and going, you know what? I'm not here to provide the answer. What would you like from me? Right? How can I best support you? How can I allow you to be seen and heard and empower you to support you in your next steps, or just support you on holding the bucket? Like, that's a term we use in leadership, like hold the bucket. And somebody may say like a friend of mine could be like, I could be going through something, right? And a friend of mine could say like, well, can I help you? And I'll be like, you know what? I just need you to hold the bucket. I don't want feedback. I don't want information. I don't want your opinion. I just want to purge it. Sometimes we just need to
Yes.
purge those emotions and purge that out. And then maybe once we purge it, we'll ask for that. But you just get to be there and hold that bucket for them to basically release it all out. And sometimes that is more helpful than you putting your opinion into the mix. So that was powerful. Ashley, thank you so much for bringing that to light and sharing that. Now I want to get into the magic that you create and how you help women. So can you talk to us about your processes and how, if somebody's going through infertility, how your methods help them move through that?
Really, I meet everyone that comes to me one to one on their journey, where they're at, what they've experienced, whether they've tried the fertility and medical world and they are exhausted by that and can't pursue that any further, or whether that is not in their interest whatsoever, and perhaps they're in their 40s and they feel like they're running out of time. And wherever they're at, whatever they've been through, whether it's miscarriages or failed rounds of IVF, it's really important to sort of heal and look at what you've experienced and what you've embodied from all of this, because whatever we haven't processed, we're carrying with us month after month, and we're taking that along, and it's influencing what is happening and what we're able to create. So there is healing that needs to happen. There is nervous system work that needs to happen, because this is a stressful situation. It has been said to be as stressful as cancer and things like that. And yet it is not given the same sort of acknowledgement that, say, other things are. And it really is important to know to come out of rest, or to come out of fight or flight mode and move into rest and digest mode. And that's not a one and done thing. This is us working with our nervous system to be able to navigate all of these obstacles in a way that doesn't completely overwhelm us and make us feel shut down, and so that we can just breathe through all of this discomfort that is coming at us, that we are embodying, but that we are just so aligned to, and will do what it takes in order to bring miracles towards us. And it means being present, and it means stop focusing so much on the future or what's happened in the past, and be able to come back to the present moment, to anchor into your breath, and to move through this with some ease and some peace, and to find peace with what was, and to look towards the future with a renewed faith and hope in yourself and a trust in your body, because that can be something that is broken. And women often come to me and say, can you fix me? Or I feel broken. And it's really just changing the conversation and the narrative that we are having internally with ourselves, that perhaps the whole outside world doesn't even realize. And then there's the nourishment piece as well, which is how Ayurveda plays into this, but understanding and working with the natural rhythms of our bodies and our minds, and really just coming to a holistic place that nourishes us from the inside out. And people that implement these practices begin to notice the shifts and changes really quite easily and quickly.
Mm. I love everything you're sharing right now. It's really powerful, and really like just trusting ourselves is a big thing. And sometimes we don't allow the process to happen. We want something so badly that we want to control everything
Yes.
in order to make that happen. And I learned that that's something I am an older mom. I am 50, I'm turning 52 at the recording. Monday will be this is Friday. Monday will be my birthday in July 1st, and I'll be 52. My children are 13 and 15. So I was an older mom when I had them. I'm blessed that, and I know and I'm grateful for it, that I was able to conceive them naturally, but it was a stress. Like I wanted it. So like you said, we sometimes we feel like we're running out of time, and that's what I was feeling. I'm running out of time. And so literally we were about to go into fertility checks when I found out the night there was like the faintest line, and I'm like, there's a line. I think it's a line. And then then we were on the path of possibly losing her. And that was a scary time for us as well. But I love that how you help women, because we can put so much pressure on ourselves to get what we want in the moment, especially when we feel like we're running out of time. I think I was turning 36 when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And I think I had my son around 39. So I am an older mom. So how can you like the way how you help people overcome those stresses? Like you said, there's stress, there's anxiety, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, which can shut our body down from allowing ourselves, and then putting the pressure on our partner too. Like creating this human gets to be fun, and many times we take, no matter what age we are, right, we take that away from the off the table, and it becomes, when am I ovulating, when am I doing this, like it comes so stressful. And I love the processes that you help people move through yoga and through trusting yourself and healing past wounds, so that when you do conceive, you're bringing this child into a really healthy environment, stress-free and anxiety-free. And you went through both sides of the spectrum with fertility. And I'm not saying neither is right or wrong. We want to have our children. But what was like, can you share the differences of who you were in those moments, or how you felt, to share with the women that may be going through this right now and going, oh my gosh, like this is my challenge, and Ashley is my angel right now. Like what can you share with them that they can maybe take a step right now to shift the anxiety, or that fear, moving through the fear, right? Because as women, if we really want to have a child, not everyone wants to, but if you want to, that fear of like, oh my gosh, am I never going to achieve this? How can they move
I
through?
think that's the biggest fear of all right there. And to be able to actually sit and face that fear as well, right? Because often we don't want to look at these things, and then they just become bigger in our minds than they actually are if we can actually sit and face them and breathe through them and look at them. And to paint a picture, really, the first time around, I was a control freak, and and when my husband met me, he called me the handbrake in the relationship. It was just like, it was like, no, I wanted things to happen in my time, when I expected them, and all the rest of it. And it really is learning to surrender and to let go of that control, and to trust in your body and the timing, and to release all sort of the expectations that we have on ourselves, on the clinics, on everybody, and to just find that inner peace within. And when you can find that, then you just let go a little bit, and you can just allow yourself to be instead of do. There's just a different energy and a different dynamic of everything. And so I can also attest to, being the control freak, and, being secretive, and not, leaving work and going to appointments and hoping I didn't have to explain myself or talk about this, or, really share or be vulnerable about what was happening. It doesn't mean, like, on the flip side, it needs to be everywhere either, but it's just finding that integrity within yourself, where you can say, yeah, I'm going through something really challenging right now, and that can be the end of the conversation right there, but also not being empowered in who I was really either at that point in time.
Mm.
And on the flip side, and having two new twins, that was and being a new mom, that was a challenge to just do, go, 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 and not have any of those self-care practices or principles or rituals implemented. And, when I conceived my son, I had all these things. I do yoga every day. I meditate every day. I have my non-negotiables that, I show up for me so that I can show up for everybody else in my life in the way that I
Mm.
want to. And I think that it's so important when these things are instilled, before, that then you can carry them on afterwards, and to just be so secure and grounded in who you are and so trusting. And when I conceived my son, I was in the middle of my prana meditation yoga training. And there was a point in time during that when the doctors phoned and they said, there's something wrong with the baby, you need to come in. And it was like, I felt like it was a test for me to not go into my mind and to really just trust that everything was going to be okay, that everything was unfolding as it should be, and to take the teachings that I had been given and to actually implement them and to
Mm.
use them, because it was like, this is happening now at this precise time because this is the information that you need, and it's now time to embody that.
Yeah, that's powerful to like take what you're learning in the moment and realize like this is happening for me so that I'm learning all of this and now I get to actually put it into practice, which in turn helps you support your clients because now you've been through it yourself and you've learned to navigate that so that you're showing up with integrity. You've gone through all of it yourself, which is, as people moving through a transformation, we want a coach that's showing up that way. We want a support system or a mentor that has gone through it too. And when we are going through our spiral, it's nice to know that, not nice to know in what I'm saying, like not in a way that we want this for you, but that you were able to, you didn't spiral. You were like, okay, I have the tools, I have my toolkit, I know what to pull out now to help me navigate what's happening right now. And trust, which is a big word. And I think a lot of women, we don't trust ourselves, or we tend to want to control everything so much instead of letting things be and trust that everything's working for us and happening in divine timing. And we get to support that, right? We get to reach out to someone like you, Ashley, who can help us navigate and become, and learn how to breathe into it and be present so we can conceive. So it's amazing everything you shared. So I want to, like, we talked a lot about the fertility piece of it, and I want to come back to how you help women through that. But I also want to support this is a podcast around supporting female entrepreneurs and growing their business. So can you tell me, when you were building your business, what was the biggest challenge, or maybe you're going through some challenges right now? Because no matter where we are. Oh, and I love that you talked about vulnerability. We could be hiding things at work. And when we're hiding things, that's not helping us conceive. It's not helping our fertility because we're pulling back and controlling things again, right? Because we're afraid to let people in and be vulnerable. And if we're missing out on maybe the 1 or 5 or 10 people that we're not sharing it with that could be really supportive, and maybe they went through a similar journey and they could talk us through it too, and they could give us hope, right? They could help supply us with that hope and that excitement around what's possible for us if we just shared the information. And I talk about that with entrepreneurs. I'm like, you get to share your story. You get to share your journey by you sitting on your story. And I did that for years. I was afraid to share. I'm like, who's going to want to hear my stuff? Nobody wants to hear my story. My story doesn't matter to anybody. But then when I shared it, I still share it. And when you're really sharing it a lot, you get tired of hearing your own story. Thinking again, it comes back full circle. Nobody's going to want to hear this until somebody says, I'm so excited to share your story. I can't wait to have you on and share your story. I love your story. So no matter what you're navigating through, fertility, infertility, whatever, and you're going through a process, or what you're going through right now, it's really important as humans. And especially, I think our world has evolved. Back 20 years ago, yes, the environment was different. We like, people didn't really share, right? For ridicule, or for like, that wasn't the space to do it. but I think we've learned a lot from the pandemic. Like people want to hear, so they're not feeling alone. Um, so my question for you is, can you share some of your story or journey around building your business? Because especially in this space, like what was it like for you, or what was your biggest challenge navigating?
Definitely for me, sharing and being vulnerable was a huge piece of it because I'd never talked about these things before, but it was also the knowledge of so many people are struggling with this, and I know that, and they can use this energy medicine to help them to navigate this with more ease and peace and trust. And it was truly looking at my littlest son every day and knowing like he would not be here if I had not embodied this wisdom, and just looking at him and seeing him and knowing how truly blessed that I am, that I get to wake up to three kids every day when I didn't know if I would wake up to any. And I think that will always be the driving force of my business and why I will offer this to women because everybody feels alone when they're going through it. Everybody feels like there's not enough support and that no one understands them or what they're going through. And I think that these hard conversations need to be had and this awareness needs to be spoken that, 1 in 6 women going through this worldwide is huge. It's
Mhm.
too many.
Yeah. I completely agree. And what you shared, I pulled some things out of, and your story is key. When you're starting your business, your challenge was vulnerability. My challenge was vulnerability. So I totally completely resonate with you. We can have, and I'm a business strategy coach, but my mission is the visibility behind it. Once I get you visible, then I can share the strategy with you. But the strategy doesn't necessarily come first. It's all about, you have an idea, you have a mission, you have a purpose. You need to get out there and share your journey. You need to get out, especially if it's your journey. If you've helped other people through it, then share their journeys. But the offer doesn't come first. The program, the solution doesn't come first. You need to get attention on yourself, which means you need to get visible, which means you get to be vulnerable if you want to connect with your audience to draw in those people that you're able to serve. And sometimes I think too many of us, me included, when I started, I'm like, I got to have the offer. I've got to have the course laid out and made. And meanwhile, 6 months is going by where you're creating all this stuff. And then you put it out to market and you're like, why aren't they here? They told me if I build
Mm-hmm.
it, they'll come. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to show up first. You need to show up first and share your story and show up as the expert in your space, meaning people get to connect with you and trust that you're the expert in your space. And you knew that there was a huge need for what you've gone through. You weren't alone, and that's powerful in understanding that because many times we can feel like we're the only one going through this, and that's never the case. And if you get out there and you share your story, you're going to be amazed at how many people are going to thank you and be grateful that you showed up. So I have a couple questions for you. I'm going to play with your background, because when I first met you, we were on a summit together, and you were just like you are now. And I'm in my living room because we're in the summer session right now of the time that we're recording this. It's probably not going to come out in summer, but we're in summer right now, which means kids are home from school. And you're just finding that you're in Canada, so your kids just got out. My kids have been out for about a month now, about a month now. And so our internet is spotty, not only when my kids are home, which they're not right now, but also just with everybody else being home in the neighborhood more than usual. The bandwidth isn't so great. So I come from my living room because I know I'm going to have a good connection, and I want to make sure we're successful for Ashley with our internet connection here. But your background, I was shocked when you moved away from it before. And I know some of you are listening. So if you're listening right now, I'm going to invite you to check out our YouTube channel, because her background is beautiful. Can you share? I know it has to do with the lotus, but inside of the beautiful lotus is this infant, and
Yeah.
and the words underneath it are holistic fertility. Yeah,
Coach.
a holistic fertility coach. So I would love for you to share the background, because when you stand in front of it, it's not, we just miss it. And then when you move, I was like, oh, and I remember that feeling when you moved away from it. And I was like, oh my God, that is one of the most beautiful backgrounds. And I don't know if it's your logo or whatever, but it's perfection for you. So if you're listening, I invite you to come to YouTube and check out the visual, or go check out Ashley Holmes on social, which we're going to give you all the ways to find her in a little bit. But I love the background. So can you tell us more about it and the lotus and what the power that it, like what it means to you and the power behind it?
I really love and what resonates with me and where this came from. I wish I could say I was the designer, but this isn't my magic. But I had the vision of what I wanted to create because of the saying, no mud, no lotus. And it's like when you're in the thick of it and you feel like you're in the infertility trenches and nothing is working and this is never going to happen. And why am I going through this? And why is this happening to me? And I'm a good person. All of the things that are showing up for you, it really is just, and through the teachings of yoga, the lotus flower is like the unfolding of the lotus. It's an invitation to get to know yourself at a deeper level, to heal at a deeper level, to know that healing isn't a one and done, that there's many layers that unfold as we navigate life, and that there is beauty within, and from that let the miracle child be birthed.
I love it so much. I think it's perfect. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things I've ever seen. I'll have to tell you, like, I love it so much. And it's your vision. So it's beautiful. So what does it look like to work with you, Ashley? Like, what would that process look like? So for anyone listening that wants to reach out to you, like, what can they expect?
It is a co-creative process in that I'm not just dishing out wisdom to you that take it or leave it. It's what are you experiencing at the moment? How can I support you? How can you move through that? And it could be, sadness or anger during the holidays, if that's the time of year that it is. It could be I'm really having troubles with what to eat. You've told me what my dosha is in Ayurveda, but I don't know what things should I be eating? What should be on my plate? What should my plate look like? And some guidance on that and with that. Or it may be, I am just so stressed out with everything and everybody right now. I am completely overwhelmed and moving from there and having that support really at your fingertips and knowing that, you know, I had someone message me and say, I think I'm having trouble with my vagus nerve. And so I literally sent them a 2-minute voice note with a pranayama breathing exercise. And they're like, oh, my ears popped, like they were experiencing symptoms. And it was like, I feel so much better now. It's just having someone in your back pocket for what is showing up for you to help you with what you're going through in the moment. And I think that sometimes we're not noticing and paying attention to these signs and signals that are showing up for us and knowing what we can do to help ourselves in the moment, and just having someone say, try this, use this can support you. If this shows up again, come back to this. I think that we really get to tune in to our own inner wisdom, and we get to become our own teachers and become our own gurus. And it really is just the process of learning yourself at a deeper level.
I really like that because you're allowing people to learn how to trust themselves and tap into their intuitive side of themselves and listen to their bodies. Because I think for many of us, we're so used to that typical Western medicine, like whatever the doctor says goes. And we're learning, I think, as we're evolving, that that's not necessarily the right direction or what's going to work for us. And really with tapping into listening to our bodies and what's going on, because not many times you hear of people that go to the doctor and there's just no solution, like the doctor can't give you, but we deep down know that there's something going on, and we just need to find the right person to help us through that. And that's you when it comes to women, navigating this type of journey. You mentioned Ayurveda twice. So can you talk more about what that is? Because I'm not familiar with it, and I'm sure other people aren't. Many people might be, but for those of us who aren't, can you share more about what that is?
It is the science of life and the natural healing of the mind and the body together. They're not separate. And Ayurveda really looks at the whole person and not just the signs or the symptoms. It's not a band-aid approach type of practice. And it really is, this will help you not only on your fertility journey, this is getting to know you and your inborn constitution, how you arrived on this earth, and working with your body in a way that serves it for your longevity and your vitality for the rest of your life. And with this wisdom, it really is just a different approach and perhaps what you're not familiar with and words you're not familiar with if you're not familiar with Sanskrit. But it really has been transformational for me because I am a Pitta, which means I'm primarily composed of fire and water. And so I used to teach 3 hot yoga classes a day until I became pregnant with my son. And I was like, I cannot be in this heat. I cannot take this heat. I still do yoga every day, but I'm no longer going to practice in this heat. It was my wake up call to stop because we're often drawn to the things that are putting us further out of balance. And
Ah,
those are the things that we're doing, and they're out of alignment with what is actually truly best for us. And like eating spicy food and all these things that I thought were, you know, not full of fire energy, not fueling the fire, not putting more heat in my body, absolutely were. So it really was just a wake up call of listen to your body. And yes, you can have things. It's not an all or nothing approach, but it's knowing that if I have this spicy wasabi, it's going to have this effect on me and I'm not going to feel very good, right? So it's just that wisdom and that listening.
yeah. I love that you said, like, we're often drawn to the things that are not the best for us. So that's powerful. Because sometimes, you hear something similar to that is the lessons we need to learn are repeated, right? They're repeated in our lives until we actually learn them. So things show up for us and we're like, why do I keep repeating the same patterns? Well, it's because we're not learning from those and we were brought here to learn that lesson. And then once we finally, sometimes bang our head against the wall hard enough, we finally realize that. So that was interesting that you shared that. That was awesome. Like, sometimes we're drawn to it because we need to learn that that's not the best idea for us. And that's the way, like I always tell my clients, I'm like in business, I'm like, take action. Action brings clarity. Every step forward you take is going to bring you clarity on whether it's the right direction or the wrong direction. But when it's not the right direction, that's okay. It's just a matter of it's getting you closer to the right direction. It's not the wrong thing for you. It's the journey that you're on. But sometimes we need to, get a hit over the head a few more times than we should because we're just not learning that lesson. So that was awesome that you shared that. So how can we find you, Ashley, for someone who's listening right now and they're like, I've got to talk to Ashley. I've got to reach out to you. How do we find you and how do we work with you?
You can find me. I have a Holistic Fertility Coach Facebook group that you are welcome to join. And it is a place to just receive, receive all of the trainings and the lives and the meditations and the things that are in there for you to use at your own space and place. And it's a beautiful place to even just say, hey, check this out. If there's someone in your world, because with 1 in 6, there's someone in our world that is probably struggling with this. To just say, have a look, have a space to land. You are not alone. That a reminder needs to be given as many times as possible.
Mm-hmm. So what is the Facebook group called?
Holistic Fertility Coach Facebook group.
Okay, awesome. So go to Holistic Fertility Coach Facebook group and then go check that out. Go join. We're also going to have all of her information in the notes, but where else can we find you, Ashley? I know you're on Instagram and on social media. How can people reach out to you and maybe DM you if they want to?
Yes, Instagram and Facebook are primarily where you will find me, and you will find me with my beautiful logo. You will know that you have found me. And I welcome you with open arms because I really do want to help as many people to ease the struggle and the suffer that they are experiencing, because that's not why we're here on earth.
Yeah, it gets to be easy. I think we make it hard, right? Because we want to lone wolf it. And hi, my name is Heidi. I'm a recovering lone wolfer, and lone wolfing doesn't work. We get to make this journey easy. So don't make it harder on yourself. Reach out to Ashley. Go join her community. There's other women who are going through just like what you're going through. You're not alone. As much as you might feel like you're on an island by yourself, you're not. There's other people navigating it. Some people are ahead of you. Some people are a little behind you or in the processes, but at least you get to know that you're not alone. And you've got this amazing human and woman in front of you, Ashley Holmes, who can help you navigate this incredible journey. Because if whatever you want, you get to have. I truly believe that you get to have it. And sometimes the normal, quote unquote, normal way or path of getting there isn't the necessarily right path. There's other options. So I don't want you to think you're optionless. You're option abundant. There's plenty of options for you, and you get to find what options are out there for you. Take leadership in your own life. If you want to create something, you get to create it, but it's up to you to check out, to go forward and find the resources. And Ashley is here on a silver platter for you to help you. And she wants to help you. She's been through it herself. She's not just talking the talk. She's walked that talk. She's been through that journey, both with having twins, quote unquote, and I don't know if that's normal, but she's gone through the doctor version, Western medicine way of infertility. And now she's also done it through trusting her body and listening to her body and doing it through holistic practices, which is amazing and beautiful, in my opinion. So Ashley, before we get to the fun fact, because I love to share something that we wouldn't know about Miss Ashley. Like, we've heard the professional side, we've heard your story, and I love that. I want to share that with our people, and our people get to hear that. But at the same time, I want to hear, like, who is Ashley? Like, something different we wouldn't see about Miss Ashley on social media. Before we get to do that, do you have any last minute words that you'd like to share that maybe we didn't touch on or get to, that you'd like to share with everyone?
I would just love to share that diving into this work is really, bringing the unconscious to the conscious. And once you do that, you make that shift in your awareness, anything is possible. So I just want to put that out there, as well as you are welcome to take your health, healing, and happiness into your own hands whenever you decide to, and to take complete ownership of that. And with that, a fun fact about me that perhaps you do not know is true farm girl, and I was raised on a farm. I live on a farm now, but
Oh, wow.
I love being outside in nature, in the elements. I think that we need more of that in this day and age, and less screen time. So that's really, I think a tidbit, a fact that people don't know about me.
Especially being on social media, like our life is virtual for the most part. Like, we're on virtual all the time,
Yes.
and you have children and I have children. Before this conversation, before we actually hit record, we were talking a little bit about that. Like, my children, like, being in the summer right now, we talked about like the internet bandwidth. And I was like, you guys, you can't be streaming for the next 3 hours. I've got back-to-back calls. I've got back-to-back interviews, or about podcast interviews I'm on, or I was doing a presentation the other day, and you could see it in their face. They're like, oh, what am I going to do? And I'm like, well, you can do art, or you can go walk, or you can actually spend time conversing with each other, or you can, make lunch for yourselves and make it a team effort, or, get creative. And I think our world has shifted a little. So I love that you grew up on a farm. That's like so cool. I never would have.
I think for me, I think it was also like we had farmer vision. So we had two or three channels, maybe. So for me, it was like there was not a lot of options. So it was just, I was always inventing, creating, I started writing at a young age. When I conceived naturally, threw all of my writing out, and people are gobsmacked when they hear that. And it's like, and then 2 years or 3 years later became an international best-selling author. So truly, it's all in there. It may not come out in the time and manner that you think it's going to, but it's all there, and it will happen in divine timing.
Yeah. And that brings us back to trusting the process. Like, trust the process. The word trust keeps coming up in this. That's my biggest takeaway from talking with you, Ashley, is really just trusting that everything's working out for you. And you also get to be a leader in your own creation. Like, whatever you want to create for yourself, you get to be the leader of that mission, because it's your mission, right? Nobody's going to show up for you and give you the guidance and the way to do it. You get to go search it out. Before we wrap up, and I know we're going really long, but this conversation's been awesome. Is you are a contributor for Brains Magazine. So for those people who are in business, and we're going to talk business before we wrap up real quick, how did that happen? And what would be, if somebody's listening going, I want to do something like that, what was the process that got you to where you are? Did you need to be a best-selling author to make that happen? Or was that your, steps that you took along the way, and then your book came? Like, how did it work out for you?
I was a best-selling author first. They had reached out to me probably 2 years after I became a best-selling author, and I was like, yes, because I stopped writing at that um level because I was like, I don't have the time and energy to dedicate to doing that anymore. But it's like, yes, I can write one article a month. I can commit to that. And yes, I want to be a contributing author. They reached out to me and it was an easy yes because it was like, yes, there's so many things. I can talk about yoga or mindfulness or Ayurveda. There's so many things that you can just put out in little snippets that people can digest easily and quickly and connect with me from there or carry on with their day. But I think it's just so good to also not limit yourself on the ways and avenues that you are reaching people with. And for me, I've always loved writing. So that was, do more of that and, channel your energy with what fuels you with joy as well, right? So it's an easy task to complete.
Absolutely. So this is the whole thing about being seen. Put yourself out there. If Ashley hadn't written the book, they may not have come to her. So these are the doors that open when you take action, and scary action. I'm sure writing a book wasn't just the easiest thing that you fell into and you're like, "Oh, this is so easy and I'm not scared." Like there's fear behind it, but you do it anyway.
Yeah.
And because of Ashley taking action, she became a best-selling author. Because of that step forward, she then was reached out to be a contributing person in Brains magazine. And I just love all of that. So we unpacked so much today, whether it's personally and you're navigating your infertility journey, or you're looking towards getting more visible or moving through challenges in your business. So Ashley, I just want to really just take a moment and say thank you. I'm so grateful for you being here. So grateful for our time. I know people listening right now don't realize this, but we had to reschedule this. So, and that was due to my schedule. So thank you for being flexible and for just sharing your knowledge and expertise and the beauty of you and your journey. And I just really grateful for this time together. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. And I hope that this has, sparked a little nugget within you of what is possible for you.
Absolutely. So whoever for you listening, what's possible for you? Think about that. Get in touch with your vision. What do you want for yourself, both personally and professionally? And the sky's the limit. You can create it, but you get to be the leader in making that happen. And there's always other options. Don't take no for an answer, right? Because there's always other options to create what you want to create. So thank you so much, Ashley, for being here. Thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. In the meantime, go be seen, be heard, and empowered.